Tumfakli'u, idosha jundila Tumfakli'u, Tumfakli'u, iko jundila Tumfakli'u.
All recipes hot dish says.
It's me boto. Sorry, that was a robot. I na venenoi lahoi all recipes. That was not an ad for all recipes. Venenoi means an advertisement, and lahoi is a controversial word. Every word in Lojban is controversial. Lojban, it's fine. I think every word in English is controversial too. Just people are very used to that. But Lojban is new, so you might expect that maybe we're like, this is exactly how it is, and we have figured out how it is. But no, Lojban is the same as English. Every word is controversial. For instance, lahoi is sort of equivalent to if I had said laho ga all recipes ga, and then then that's a quote that's I used ga, which is the word for it as a word that's g. It's a pronoun. If you use it in a sentence, it's a pronoun, but if you use it there, it's just you can use any word you want. You could use zmiboto, laho zmiboto all recipes zmiboto. Na venenoi. It really isn't an advertisement. Ilo zmiboto shu shohe lashkiku. The robot is something's key. My husband is named Lashkiku, but I was just saying naturally what I would say, and what I would naturally say there is just shohe, because it's obvious what happened, right? Isn't that obvious? I think it felt obvious to me, and so I just said shohe. If you're Lojban is this easiest language, just say shohe. There, you're done. All you have to do is anything that anyone says to you in Lojban, just say shohe. It'll totally fit. And if you need a few more words, just throw in some zohe. Shohe. You sound like, and everyone will just assume that that's the contextually relevant thing that makes sense, and you're good. You're doing it. You're speaking Lojban. Venenoi, veshnu, ven, nochi, noi. Veshnu is cell, and nochi is a notice, a note. So a cell note, an advertisement, venenoi. The reason why lahoi was controversial is because lahoi is just like, okay, well, that's great. You can use any citation word to put it in, but I'm putting in something that doesn't have any pauses in it. So I'm just going to use a pause as the citation word, and lahoi is just means like, okay, I'm lahoi. This has no pauses, so I'm just going to pause on either side of this, and that's going to count. Lahoi, all recipes, and that's fine. You're fine, and it's not fair. It's not fair because what if you wanted to quote Hawaiian? Because then you would need a longer pause. I think a longer pause would be fine. I'm fine, personally. I'm fine with just putting a longer pause around a Hawaiian word if it has, like, or if you want to quote uh-oh has a pause in it. So you can't technically quote it with a pause, but you could quote it with, like, a longer pause. And I think we're all good. I think we're all either the machines are caught up on this. The humans are caught up. I think we're all good. Like, lahoi, uh-oh, if something was named uh-oh, I think we're good. Lahoi, uh-oh, that's fine. Because you can hear by the pauses which the thing that's going into the lahoi. And then the lahoi takes it and makes it into a name. There's other ones to make it into other stuff. You want to make it into a verb, you can say mehoi. There you go. You can speak Lojban now. Just take whatever verb you want to say and say, or any noun, or you can just take nouns in English also and use mehoi to make them into Lojban verbs, because Lojban sees everything as a verb. So if you give it like dump truck and you put mehoi dump truck, then Lojban will be like, great, a verb that means to dump truck, because that makes sense, right? Yeah. I don't really recommend not learning the Lojban verbs. It's fine. Lojban's got lots of cool verbs. You should learn all the cool Lojban verbs. Like, you should learn van lamigu. That means the last twinkling of the sun's light when it sets behind a lake in the evening. There's the light is starting to go away, but there's still, as it starts to get at an angle to the lake, it gets all twinkly. Van lamigu. Funny that English doesn't have a word for van lamigu. They can borrow van lamigu if they want. They can borrow that from Lojban, that'd be okay. So, but other than verbs are cool. There's some cool verbs in Lojban. It's fine. But the reason why you come to Lojban is for the attitudinals. Attitudinals, we use the funny word attitudinals because what do you call them in English? Interjections? I don't know. We probably have other interjections other than attitudinals if you analyze whether they're interjections. I don't know that the attitudinals are interjections because they connect to the thing before them. Unless you specifically unconnect them somehow, then they will connect to something. And attitudinals like to go together in a group. They don't, like, if you say one attitudinal and then another, like if you say we, ohu, then those both go together and attach to the thing that they're attaching to. We, I'm happy. We, and ohu, I feel relaxed. Ah, ohu. And so that means you mean happy and relaxed about something. We, ohu. And then if you feel happy about feeling relaxed, then you say the ohu, and then you say toihe, and then you say we. Ohu toihe we. And then there's a zillion modifiers, and like, so from a Lojban perspective, what do you get in English? You get to say like, it's like a grunt, a few little grunts you get to be like, ew, and or yay, and that's been, English has a pretty good vocabulary of them, but from a Lojban perspective, they're very sloppy in whether they'll attach to anything, which makes them less useful as tools for expressing what you feel about. And the Lojban ones also attach to each other, and you can make complicated emotional description structures. Like you get all sorts of modifiers. You get intensity modifiers. There's the traditional system of what intensities you get, where you get sai and shy and ruhe. Sai means intensely, and shy means very, very intensely, and ruhe means weakly. And so, but by now, Ray is also used as well as ruhe. Ray was they did assign it to 12, or is it 12? But they assigned it to a number, but it sounds just like re, which means 2. So having two different numbers, re, that's 2, and ray, which is a different number, re versus ray, and you have to hear numbers which are like re, re, ray, re, 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 re. That was decided very early on to not be a good plan. And the plan, very early on, the plan for how the Shmabo would work was that the experimental ones would all go under X. X would be like an experimental Shmabo land. So they didn't make any Shmabo in X, and it was going to be all experiments. So then one of the experiments, I guess, was to take Che, and they used Che for whatever number that is. Wait, Dao, Che, it's 11, I guess. And we don't really say that much at all, and we definitely don't say the original Ray. So more recently, Ray has been used as an equivalent of Ruhe, so that there isn't that like Sai and Shai, and to do weak you have to say an extra syllable Ruhe. It's like ruble, which means to be away not very much at all is to ruble. So ruhe is from that, but I like Ray by now, and also that's the old fish. That system has maybe 3, maybe 4 levels, because maybe if you just say we, is that like saying we sigh, a strong amount of we happiness, or is it it seems like from the way people used it that's a level we, and there's no like marker for it, and then you can get weaker by saying ruhe and stronger by saying sigh.
Christopher Kimball.
Inavenanoi. So, but then there's a newer system for the intensity that's an 11-point scale. They go up to 11. It goes from the very weakest is the strongest ones are you take psi is intense, and then you add more I like psi high is even more intense than psi, and psi high is even more intense than psi high, and then you go up to shy, and then shy high, and then the very strongest is shy high. That's like up to 11, like you know, like you're like dying or something. That's like the strongest emotions you would ever feel. And then going down the other way, you go down under psi, you go from ray, you go both ways from ray. You can go ray high, which adds a high, so it goes up. So it goes from ray being weak, ruble, and then ray high, ray and ray high, and then you get up to psi. And so, and then, but you can also go down from ray. Ray is not very much, but you can go even further down from there by adding an A. Ray hey. Ray, and then the very weakest is ray hey, which is like hardly feeling anything at all. And so then now you can be extremely precise in the level of how much you feel things, which is that useful? I don't know. You try that out and see whether it's useful and report back, because this is we're experimenting. See whether it's pure warfs you. See whether spirofu, that's the Lojban word for the Sapir-Whorf effect. So just you try out having 11 different levels of whether you can distinguish the emotions and report back whether you spirofu from that, or not. You can just use the old 3 levels. That works fine too. Just do that, and you can still say ruhe. You don't have to switch to ray. It's just there's an idea that those things where you use words differently. It's called sheki tao jiao after fourth words that it was done to, she, ki, tao, and jiao. Or in Lojban, that doesn't make a word, obviously, because those are four shmavo, so that's 4 shmavo in Lojban. So you have to put a t at the beginning to make it a word in Lojban. Che, ki, tao, jiao, cheki tao jiao. Or cheki tao. Sometimes people just say cheki tao. Or whatever. So that's what that means is. And the original proposal for Sheki Tao Chao was that they would switch. That like if you wanted to switch if you wanted to use she to mean shehu, so she is what you get inside of a ka phrase. If you're describing something as if you're making a quality, a ka makes a verb out of a whole sentence, and inside of the sentence, inside of the ka, is the shehu, which is the thing that's that's what the quality is. Like loka shehu shitka is the quality of eating, being an eater, but loka shitka shehu is the quality of being eaten. So, and then, but you get much more elegant phrases if you can just say she. And it was very rare to use she for the previous usage, and they thought they were like, the idea was like, okay, and then shehu, then we won't be using shehu, right? Because we're switching it to she, so then shehu can mean the old meaning of she, which is that's not how it worked in practice. That was not a realistic idea. I forget whose idea that was. I'm sorry if you're hearing this, but that was not realistic. Because what really happened, of course, is that people started saying she sometimes, and they started saying ki in place of keha sometimes, but they didn't stop saying shehu and keha, and so everything has both the new version and the old version. That's how it actually works. And if you wanna say you don't really need to use she, you didn't really need to say she anyway. Just say shmima. That's a word that means a set. You can just use that. So, and also the point, what was the point? Okay, there's an 11-point scale. There's various modifiers and complexities. So it's our version of saying eek is like, you can be very expressive in how much you eek exactly. Yi means scared, so that's like eek, but it's not like if you just say yi ray or yi ray hey even, then that's like only a tiny little bit eek, which isn't like how eek works in English. You can't make it be about be a smaller amount of eek, except by like trying to say it differently. But you can in the Lojban version of eek is very precise, and you can do all kinds of things with it. You can make it stronger and weaker. You can contour the time of it. Yibuho means I'm starting to become scared, and yibuho nai means the being scared is going away. But yibuho shuhi means that there's an ongoing fear. I was scared before, and it's not ending right now. It's just ongoing. Or you can also say yi mauhi, which means I am feeling more fear than I was feeling, than the fear that I mentioned before. My fear has increased. I'm feeling more and more fear. And every time you say yi mauhi, then it increases more how much you're saying. And etc. Those are just some examples. There's stuff. There's some of it's more obscure than others, but maybe if I mention it right now, it will become less obscure because then it will be on this episode of Tumfakli'u. So there's no way for me to tell you about an obscure one because I would unobscure it. But I assure you, even though I can't make it so that I can't tell you what they are without making them not obscure, I assure you there are obscure ones. Oh, alright, fine. I went and got you an obscure one. I found sohei. Sohei. I like how the pun on the English sohei. Sohei means I'm being honest, to be frank, candidly, speaking one's mind. I thought that would be a good one to say because it's people say stache a lot, which is like making an attitudinal out of the word stache, honest. And it seems like the idea of this one, sohei, was to make a discursive that matches how people say stache in case you wanted a specific word instead of having to make it out of say and stache. So and I like the pun with sohei. Sohei. I found another good one that I didn't know. This one, roihi. It says it's roihi means creative, artistic, emotion felt in the proverbial mythical right brain. And if you say roihi nai, then that's analytic, methodical, emotion felt in proverbial mythical left brain. So that's interesting. Roihi. That's a type of modifier. I don't know that one, but there are basic ones in this kind of modifier. It's called we4, I guess, which these are kinds of modifiers that tell you like the category of the motion. You can, as well as saying how strong it is and saying the time contour of it and other stuff like that. You can also categorize what you've got, like the basic like flavor of it, like ye scared or we happy, and then you can also have categories like roha marks it as social. That's so then if you're scared but like you're not like scared of getting physically hurt, you're scared socially, then you would say roha to mark it to that's a social category. Yi roha, I'm scared of something socially, or we roha, I'm happy about something that happened on a social level. Or if you were scared of getting physically hurt, then roho is the physical level. You would say we roho, I'm feel happy, I just feel good physically. Or ye roho, I'm actually scared I'm going to get physically hurt. Oh no, woo. Woo is translated as I feel pity, but it is very much not like in English saying I feel pity. It means you really do feel like compassion because someone was hurt. So you woon mo that they were hurt. So if someone ye roho, then I woon mo them. But so there's various ones. Apparently, there's one roihi that means that you create on a creative level. It's an emotion you feel on a creative level. That's cool, I guess. And there's a new exciting new Shmavo alert. Whoop 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 Shmavo alert. There's a new Shmavo in town. Rohao. Rohao means that they're feeling the emotion about your gender identity or lack of gender identity, or your relation to gender as it's understood and by society and so forth. on a gender level. You're feeling it on a gender level. So ye ro how would be gender scared. You're scared somehow about gender, or we ro how would mean you're feeling gender euphoria and you're happy about gender stuff. We ro how. Yay, exciting news, Schmavo. I searched for ro how, and so far the only example I found isn't really an example of using ro how. It's basically said right after she invented the word ro how. She said, imi shu how hu hai hin mo zo ro how. I think that was right after, or I don't know when it was, but it's describing making the word, because I made a ridiculous schmavo long ago. I thought it was a joke, and then it's funny how much it's actually been used since then. So maybe it's useful. So maybe it should have been shorter. It goes, she how hu how he. She how hu how he means I feel pride at having just invented a new attitudinal. And she how hu how he nine means I feel shame at having just invented a new attitudinal. So I just invented she how hu how he in order to say it about itself. I said like, mi puzi finti zo she how hu how he. She how hu how he. She how hu how he nine. And I just invented it to say that basically, but then here it is in Tumfakli'u. Now everyone's gonna know how he. And plus we invent attitudinals we didn't invent attitudinals so frequently back then. So now that there's way more attitudinals being invented, lots more people how hin mo. So now it's an even more useful word than before. Let me know if you got any suggestions for what syllables we should take out of it, maybe. Tumfakli'u ichudo rohan mo taula tumfakli'u itumfakli'u ichudo rohan mo taula tumfakli'u. I thought I would use our new word in the theme song. That means, do you feel do you feel on a gender related level about Tumfakli'u? Chudo rohan mo taula Tumfakli'u. Che means 14. That's what it is. I forgot that it's 14. If you said, oh look, a che May is coming, I don't know if I would know that you meant 14 of something are coming. But that's what it is. Che means 14. Maybe we can all know that now. Way more often than I've heard che I've heard the word chehe. Chehe is pretty common. Chehe means here, if you mean like this chat room that we're at. Because if you say like buhuti, like at here, is people will just be like, what do you mean? Physically at a location that you're pointing at? I can't even see what you're pointing at. We're in a chat room. So chehe means the forum, this forum here that we are currently using. I guess now if I said chehe, that would mean Tumfakli'u. This audio, I guess, would be chehe. Like, mi shuskudedo chehe. I'm saying this to you in this forum. I guess chehe then was Tumfakli'u, since that's where we're at right now. Here we are together at Tumfakli'u. We're jundi chehe. You got to say something like paying attention to the chat room, the virtual space in which we are sharing. Because if you say mahazvatiti, we are at the thing I am pointing at, people will be like, what? No, that's really not right. You really should say chehe. I'm going to tell you how I learned Vici, and maybe that will make you also know Vici. This was when there were just starting to be voice chats ever in Lojban, and once a week there would be a voice chat for like a few hours on Sunday, I think it was. And one day, one of these early first voice chats when we were just starting to get stuff set up and do any voice chatting, and someone was saying to someone else, Vici, and they're like, what What's vici? They say, the sound of your voice is vici. And I had to go look it up in the dictionary, and I found out that vici means intermittent. To be something intermittently, to sometimes be it and sometimes not be it. So they were saying like, the sound of your voice is cutting in and out. It's vici. It needs to be steadily. To be something steadily is to stodi. Your new voice needs to be stodi, not vici. And that was the day I learned vici. Vreji, recording, is the main verb about recording, so you might think that it means recording, like to record, but it's more noun-like, really. It's a noun-like verb that means a recording. So if you say like mi vreji, that means you are a recording. So what you want to say is rejgao. Mi rejgao. Rej from vreji. You just take out the middle from vreji. You take all different bits or rearrange it or however in the different rafsi. Vreji takes out the middle. So you say rejgao. And gao, of course, is from gasnu, to do. You take out the outside of that. You take out the middle of rej, and you take out the outside of gasnu, gao, and then you have record do, to make there be a recording, a vreji. Tumfakli'u imishabechkola tumfakli'u. Did you know that nachle means a canal? I did not know that. Nachle goes to the selchle from the terchle, and then along the velchle is the root. Wow, that's quite a thing to use chle for. Nachle. Okay, this is a new example that just happened of how to use the boha defining things. I didn't remember how to do this before, so now I'm gonna. This is an example. Srasu and Bishachli are talking about how to do, and Lalchu, we're talking about this morning about how to do a definition for a word proji, which means to write a program, or they're deciding exactly what it means. Bishachli used the boha, etc. Boha, bohe, bohi, boho, and bohu. Used those to define 5 places of proji. Iboha pogafihi. The first place is a program inventor. Pogafihi. Pog is from proga, program, and fihi is from finti, invent. Pogafihi. Iboha pogafihi. So the first one is the program inventor. Ibohe proga jeshu sefinti boha. The second thing, bohe, is a program and is invented by the proji. Ibohe proga jeshu sefinti boha. Ibohi jaibao proga. Bohi is the programming language. Jaibao proga means the language in which there was the programming. Ibohi jaibao proga. Iboho minji jeshu seminde peharuhe filo proga. The boho, the fourth place, is a machine and is commanded, so to speak, to do the program. And then bohu kosmu taule proga. Kosmu means a purpose of something is useful for. So the fifth place, bohu, is what the program is useful for. Bohu kosmu taule proga. Iboha pogafihi. Ibohe proga jeshu sefinti boha. Ibohi jai bao proga. Iboho minji jeshu seminde pehavruhe file proga. Ibohu kosmu taule proga. And that's an example of how to define a word using the boha, bohe, bohi, boho, bohu series. And then everybody agreed that that definition was mansa, satisfying. good enough. Mansa. Apparently, auha is hard to explain because people are having trouble understanding auha. It's kind of simple. It's just not, there isn't, English doesn't have, English with its eek and oof and so forth doesn't have auha, but it's not a totally unknown emotion, I think, but auha is what you feel when the way that decisions are being made is different than how decisions are usually made. I thought of a good example, which is, you know, that old tradition where there would be a holiday, and on the holiday the king is the slave and the slave is the king. And the king would the parade down the street with the slave with the king in shackles or whatever, to be like, wow, check it out, so that's an auhanmo nunsla. They're celebrating an event of celebration with auhanmo as the trying to make people auhanmo, like they would say auha. I feel a different sense of how things are controlled than usual. Wow, the slaves are kings and the kings are slaves. Auha Shai. Exciting festival. Exciting Nunsla. Nun, new event. Sla, salshi, celebrate. I call this way that I'm teaching the Jvoshvashtutaji. Jvo, lujvo. A word like this, like shvoshvashtutaji. Shvoshvashtutaji is a lujvo. It's complicated word made out of parts. And shva means shvari, begin, and shtu means shtusha, to teach, and taji is a method of doing something. So this is the lujvo first teaching method. Shvoshvashtutaji. That's why, even though presumably many of you in the audience are new to Lojban, and yet you're learning first a big silly word like shvoshvashtutaji, because I think the show just throws you into the deep end. Sorry, but we're just exploring. We're exploring the deep end of Lojban. Oh, what are all these things? Shvoshvashtutaji. Don't try to understand it all at once. But also, Shvoshvashtutaji is the way you're learning. And so, the most normal example of how to, the most standard example in Lojban is how to say, I go to the store. I go to the store is miklama lozarshi. That's that simple way to say it. But since we're doing the Shvoshvashtutaji, I'm also going to teach you Zaikla. Zaikla is a lujvo from Zai, Zarshi, and Kla. Klama, Zaikla. So you can also, if you want to say, I'm going to go to the store, you can say, Mi ba Zaikla. Mi ba Zaikla. So we just need to teach you about a few shlashvo and you'll be all set. Shlashvo, shlani. Shvo, lushvo, shlani, lushvo. Like, some of them are so long they have whole stories in them. This one is a joke. It's the most famous shlashvo. It's Zbože vsovkem suzgugže hekeheborkem fai paltrusi hokehekem gubaseltru. Did I do that right? Zbo, lojbanek. Jbo. Alright, let me explain. At first, they were like, there's the one word lojbo, and the three short forms for it are, it gets lob, and it gets bob, and it gets jbo. And so, but that's sort of still how it works, except for there's new synonyms for lojbo. They mean exactly the same thing as lojbo. And so if you've heard someone saying jbobo, I mean, the meaning as in what it means, what things it refers to is the same. It's the difference in what jbobo means is on a different level. It's on terms of what does it mean to say it. because when you're saying zbobo, you're like being cuter than saying lojbo. You're still talking about the same stuff. It's still totally 100% a synonym in terms of which things you're referring to. You're referring to the lojbo things and calling them zbobo, and it's just a little cuter to call them zbobo. Just because, isn't it? You're saying zbobo. Also, zbobo is the one that's like zbonobo, which means bonobo. So that's fun for puns. Is there a bonobo who speaks who's Lojbanic? And but I think there isn't, probably. And so that's so then so originally there was just Lojbo, and for some reason it got 3 different Rafsi, and by now the way it works, or the way that I imagine that it works, is that Lob is the Rafsi for Lojbo, and Zbo is the Rafsi for Zbobo, and the Rafsi and the Bob is the Rafsi for Bahobjo, which basically no one ever says Bahobjo. But you should start saying it. It's great. I just made Bahobjo to go along with how there's the Rafsi Bob, so that's the Rafsi for Bahobjo, which also means Lojbo. Okay, so Zbo is the first Rafsi, and Zbo sevasov kem sus gugs jeh bor kem fai pal through si ho kem gubasel through. And as once we learn this word, you'll know like 50 different things. So you only have to learn one word, and it'll teach you everything. Zbo means Lojbanic, and then jev is a form of je for me that you use I lied when I said before that there is only je is the only connective, because there is other forms still, but they're the forms inside of words. Inside of words, you can say jev or jve. So zbojev, and then sof means Soviet. Again, this is a ridiculous, silly word. Just zbojev sof kem. This has nothing to do with Soviet anything or socialist anything. This is a silly word. Zbojev sof kem, and then kem, jev and kem are both like structure parts. The jev is an and, meaning like, so it's Lojbanic and socialist, and then the kem is like ke, and starts, so that like starts a part in it. So at the beginning we're just saying zbojev sof kem, and then it's suz gug jeha. Suz is suho, at least one, gug, country, jeha, state. So a state made of an at least one country. I think they mean like multiple country state, and that's supposed to be like the federative part, maybe. And then there's a kehe, which closes the kem. So kem suz gug jeha kehe bor kem. So there's a kehe bor kem, which is this is all just silly. The kehe closes the kem, and then the bor connects the that whole thing in the side of the kem kehe to this next thing, which is also in a kem kehe, which is kem fai padtrusiho kehe. What is phi fatri distribute profit, phi pal fatri, and then pal profit prali means the profit from something, and through is governance, and siho is an idea. So phi pal through siho, that part all means socialism, and that's inside of kem kehe. So kem phi pal trusiho kehe, and then at the end is another kem, and this one doesn't have a closer because it just goes all the way to the end. Kem guba sel through. Gub, like together. Gubni is like public, togetherly, and sel through means governed. So seturni, govern. So gubasel through is like publicly governed. Yeah, I guess that translates for public. Okay, so the Lojbanic, Soviet, Federative, Socialist, Republic. The first part is Zbojevasov, and then Kim Suzugujehakehe, Bor, Kim Faipaltrusiho Kehe, and then finally Kim Gubaseltru. Zboževasov kem suzkuk žehakehe borkem vajpatrusihokehe kem gubaseltru. There. You learned one word of Lojban. Here's an example of, I just happened upon this. This is an example of the Rafsi lobe. This is a usage of it in 1994 by someone named Chris Bogart. Chris Bogart said, this is a parenthetical in a longer email, To taho doi lojbab mi ba shaho termilu hu la loba please do. Ija mi ba le rupnu beli ho shubenji aido. Iminajuno leni mi jdini ilan la lojban gitters toy. I'm trying to say it in the style, the way, the tone that people pronounce Lojban in back then. And also, this was all 1994. It was all the way before dot side. So now we would say doi lojbab, with a pause. But back then you could just say doi lojbab. Hey lojbab. Lojbab is if your name is Bob, then you can totally be named Bob. Just watch out, it's the Raf Sifra's Babu soap. So you will also be named Soap. And people also call you Las Babu, quite probably, if your name is Bob and you decide to be named Bob, because Bob means soap. So Doi Lojbab, dear Lojbanic soap. And it says La Lojban Gitters, which means the Lojban group. And we would say La Lojban Gitters. We would say with some modern tone, like hello. I'm just talking normally, La Lojban Gears. But they would say with as a little bit more like nasal or something, La Lojban Gears. I don't know why Lojban sounded like that back then. To, that puts the whole thing is in a totoi in parentheses. To taho, by the way, doi lojbab. Dear Lojbanic soap, mi ba shaho termrilu hu la loj. I accidentally did the pause, but it's la loba please. Loba please. There it is, lobe. And Lojbanic apple? The Lojban apple. There's something called Lojban apple or whatever. Loba please. Oh wait, no. They made loba please. Lojban user. Juhi Lobapli is the name of the thing, and by now, what I would say if I was going to say about Juhi Lobapli, that's the name of it, which is like Juhi Lobapli is attention Lojban users, that has the lobe in it, and but I would say Lahao Juhi Lobapli Lihu, which Lahao lets you like put a whole sentence inside to as the name of something. They didn't do stuff like that, but so they were just trying to make a name for Juhi Lobapli, so they called it Lobaplis. That's why they didn't mean apple. They meant Lobapli with an S on the end. Okay. La Lobaplis. And Termirilu, they're like asking, are they going to get mailed a copy of Juhi Lobapli? Ija, or mi ba le rupnu beli ho. How many dollars? Le rupnu, to rupnu is a verb meaning to be a dollars of an amount. $2 an amount. How do you say that verbally in English? In Lojban it's totally a verb, and the thing that does it is some dollars, and the thing the dollars do the verb to is the how many of them. So like if you've got $3, then the $3 rupnu lishi. They dollars 3, the number 3, which that makes sense, right? Le rupnu beli ho, and ho is a number question, like how many dollars? They're asking how many dollars they should send. Mi ba le rupnu beli ho shu benji aido. The benji send, and I they intend to do to you. Imina juno leni and they read it together, all one word, leni back then. Now we write it separately. You can write it together if you want, and then you'll look cute and old-fashioned like how they used to write it together, Lenny. They use le back now now we use lo more, and we could get into details about that, and we could even teach all sorts of interesting Gatri systems. Imina juno, I don't know, lenni, the amount that mi jdini lan che I money balance la Lojban gear, the Lojban the Lojban group toy, and then closes out. I don't know what my balance is. The nini jdini lan che la Lojban gears, what my money balance is with Lojban group. To taho doi Lojbab. Mi ba shahu termrilo hu la loba please do. Ija mi ba le rupno beli ho shu benji aito. Imina juno le ni mil jdini lan che la Lojban gears toy. There, so that's your old-fashioned Lojban for this episode. There you go. So I went to go just find you some new thing by just going to recent conversations, and I happened to see this sentence. It has the word Tumfakli'u in it. Tumfakli'u, to explore. Tumfakli'u troshi pofashkifisu hostuzi shoberti, basically said recently in a story about a dream. Tumfakli'u, explore, troshi, try, pofashkifi, to find out about, suhostuzi, a place or places, shoberti, that are northern, that are to the north. Berti, north, stuzi, place. Suhostuzi, shoberti, some northern place. Tumfakli'u troshi pofashkifi suhostuzi shoberti. Here is a recent conversational example. Basically said, Ehado pagzu rojai sedish befai podo pagzu. Ehado pagzu, permission to participate in rojai sedish befai, everything that you want to, podo pagzu, that you participate in, Sidisha, desired things. Rojai Sidisha, all this related to the desired things. Bifai. And let's go back to that Sidisha construct. It's fine. Jai-fi is fine. Look, here's a nice sentence, and it just says Jai-fi, and it's easy to understand because it means you may participate in everything that you want to participate in. Ehado pagzu rojai Sidisha bifai podo pagzu. Pagzu is a shortening, is a shbofuvi of pagzuhe, which is funny that pagzuhe is going away to be replaced with pagzu so much, since pagzuhe is one of the only uses of pag from part, pagbu, part, pag. So participate. It really is made from participate. That's funny. I guess it really is. That is really is what it means. It means to be a part of something. So part, do. Zukte is the kind of do where you do a thing in order to accomplish something. A volitional, intentional doing for a purpose. Zukte. So that's the zuha part of pagzuha. But now we just say pagzu, which is funny because we tried to find other. I asked if anybody knew any other pog words, and not really. There's in the dictionary it says pagzai is a department store, a part store, because the store has parts, I guess. Okay. Anyway, maybe we should use pog for something else, because now pretty much the only word was pagzuha, and now people, you can just say pagzu. That sounds good. Ehado pagzu rojai sejisha befai podo pagzu. Tumfakli'u ehado pagzu la tumfakli'u. You can help out with Tumfakli'u. Send me if you just have suggestions of what you think should be on the show, or if you send me audio files, I could try to edit them in. We can have some people, the sounds of other people's voices as examples, or however you want to pagzu. Pagzu la Tumfakli'u. Kohoi. Oh, all these weird things. Oh my gosh, this is just the weirdest stuff. I searched for klama to find a nice normal example with klama, and I found Janba saying this. Janba was just saying this as an example. This is just an example sentence. Iloninmu shuklama lo zarshi jeshu tervehu lo prisa. Lo prisa, an apple. Loninmu, a woman. Shuklama goes to lo zarshi, a market. Jeshu, and tervehu buys lo plisa, an apple. Lo plisa, an apple. Lo plisa, an apple. Plisa is apple. Iloninmu shuklama lo zarshi jeshu tervehu lo plisa. Loninmu, a woman. Shuklama goes. Lo zarshi, a market. Jeshu. I said, all right, I've said before, I think this was last episode, and but I said je connects everything, and you can just tell by the next word. And I think, I mean, in some sentences, you can leave off the shu if you want. What you want to connect is brie details, but like by brie detail, I mean like the part that comes after the shu, or where the shu would be. If there, you can leave off the shu sometimes, but there's always the part. There's the head and the tail. The head. It makes sense that there's a head and a tail because lo brings out the head. It takes out the head of the breedy that's inside the lo. It takes out the head, and that's so the head and the tail are different. The head is the thing that gets taken out by lo and stuff, and the tail is the rest of it, what the thing does. So in this sentence, lo ninmu is the head, and the tail is, well, it has two tails. It has the tail shuklam lo zarshi, and it has the tail terveshnu lo plisa, shu tervehu lo plisa, by an apple, and they're connected by a je. Iloninmu shuklama lo zarshi je shu tervehu lo plisa. Okay, well, enough normal stuff. Back to teaching you the weird stuff. I'm gonna teach you super cool words for talking about feelings, about affection. These are all little 3-syllable shmavo with they all start with ohe, which is from ohe, like etymologically I took it from ohe, which means like closeness, various kinds of closeness. Ohe roha is like a social closeness, or ohe roho would just be like physically being close to something. But closeness, ohe, I used that, but it's not really. I mean, it doesn't have to be about feeling close. It's about the affectionate feelings, which a lot of people feel more affectionate with people that they ohendrohinmo have that they have an emotional closeness to. But you don't have to feel that way. You feel however you feel, and here are some words you can use to express it. So they all start with ohe, and then let's see. The first one is oheha, which is what you'd say if something makes you feel cuddly, if it makes you feel like in an affectionate mood. If you see like a picture of a comfy bed with a big teddy bear on it, you might say oheha. Oh, that makes me feel affectionate. That makes me feel cuddly, and now I feel like cuddling. Oheha. If someone, and then once you're cuddling, if someone is touching you in a way that's making you feel good, and they're scratching behind your ear, and they get just the right place, you say, oh he. That's it. That's the spot. Keep scratching, keep touching right there. Keep doing whatever you're doing. You got it. Oh he. And then, because you want the feeling of feeling good from being touched, you want to ohehinmo, to when you say ohehi when you like are feeling it, like you feel good from you're like, yay, I feel cozy and connected, or whatever, like the like peak good feelings that you feel from being affectionate, from having someone touch you affectionately, when you feel the best, and it's like, that's it, ohehi. So, and then but sometimes it's more complicated than that. It's not always so simple. So, sometimes it's weird what makes you feel what way, and sometimes what makes you feel affectionate might be different than what makes someone else feel. And there's a special feeling to feeling like, well, I mean, this is making me feel like the way like a hug would feel, but also this is like this is a weird thing to be feeling that feeling about. Like, once I went to this cool thing where a coven of witches put on this thing, and they had us like lie down, and they were like going around us and doing various different things to us. One of the things, they had these big, long, silky, colorful scarves, and they were just like dangling them down onto us as they went around us in a circle. So that was a time when I might say, oh he ho. Like, I was feeling it was nice. I felt nice about how they were dangling the silk things on me, but not just like in a normal, like, oh, a normal hug or whatever, but like, whoa, they're dangling a silk thing down onto me. A coven of witches is dangling silk on me. Oh he ho. And then, so after you've cuddled, when you felt oh he, and you start out by getting a situation that makes you feel cuddly. Oh ha, you start to feel okay, like, oh ha, this is good. And then someone finds just the right spot and touches you in just the right way, and you feel like, oh ha. And then you feel really good. Oh he, you feel that good feeling you feel from being touched. And then you feel also like a satisfaction and a relaxation and release from like, okay, phew, like, that's good. I got that. I got the touch that I needed, and I feel good now. Ohehu. Or at least I feel like completed. Ohehu is like the feeling that comes afterwards from it. Okay, so there's your family-friendly explanation of and if you want similar words for other subjects that might be less family friendly, just ask around. Lojban speakers are spread out all over the world, so it's mostly just a virtual community, so there isn't much physical touch between Lojbanists, but there are other forms of affection that are possible, like speaking kindly to each other. So we try to do that. We try to be kendo, kind, and to titaha, speak sweetly. Sorry for the metaphor. And another exciting way, I've only got a few minutes left. I've got to hurry. There's only a few minutes left in this episode, and I'm going to quickly explain to you how to skachro. Skachro, skari, color, ska. Chrotu, be affectionate, chro. Skachro, to be affectionate with colors. And this is not being affectionate with actually colors, like showing someone a color. It's being affectionate with the abstract idea of a color. Okay, so all you have to do to skachro is first ask permission. It's very important always in general to ask permission because you don't know if someone wants to be skachro. So if they want to be ska selchro, I don't know if selchro is how you say the recipient of the skachro. Skachro, maybe that. Anyway, so the person who you first ask them, like, chudo jisha pomi skachro to, do you want me to color affection you? And if they say igohi, I do, I want you to color affection me, then the way that you do it is you use the magic of shahe. Shahe is a magic word that makes things true when you put shahe on them, if they can be declared by you saying, like, sometimes you saying something is what makes it true. Like, I hereby pronounce you legally married spouses because I actually have the authority to do that. And then you can shahenmo, you can cause it to happen by saying. And there's not many circumstances like that, or there aren't usually, but skachro is one of the few circumstances where you can, because in order to skachro, you just say that you're doing it, but you have to say that you're doing it like performatively, like mark it with shahe. So like, mi pilno shahe lo sihoblanu ke po skachrodo. So I use shahe, mi pilno shahe. I declare by saying this sentence, and saying the sentence makes it true, that lo siho, the abstract idea, blanu, of blueness, and then K closes that off, and then poskachodo, in order to, what I use it for, that puts it in the terpli, the third place of pilno. What I use it for is to color affection you, and because you put shahe on it, then it's true. So mi pilno shahe lo siho blanu ke poskachodo. I use the abstract idea of the color blue to color affection you, and you can just say for short. You can say blachro shahe, blachro, bla from blanu, chro from chro, to be affectionate. So blachro shahe, that makes it be true that you're using the abstract concept of blue to be affectionate to the person that you're it's real if you believe in it, because many things in life are subjective. I don't have any more time to explain, because that is the end of this Tumfakli'u. Tumfakli'u, I ahodo buzinel shitaula Tumfakli'u. Shoho.